The awkward history of Coca-Cola starts from morphine and moves on to Santa Claus and Nazis. This Coca-Cola strange history will unveil how one carbonated drink created the America we know today. Some of you may not be aware, but May 8th is a kind of red-letter day, literally given how the color red has become affiliated with the company. On the 8th of May in 1886, the world's first Coca-Cola was served at Jacob's Pharmacy in Atlanta, Georgia. It was the creation of Dr. John Pemberton as a tonic for common ailments. He certainly had no idea what was in store for his product, the company, and an industry that would flourish into the giant it has become today. It all started with an injury. Coca-Cola actually had a quite gruesome beginning. A Confederate colonel named John Pemberton, during the Civil War, was afflicted by a terrible saber wound in the chest and had to be taken away from the fight. Considering the deep wound, the soldiers assumed Colonel Pemberton would die. To ease his pain during what they thought would be his last few hours, doctors gave him a large amount of morphine. Unluckily, Pemberton became addicted to the morphine that helped him escape his near death. He even began his own pharmacy to obtain access to an endless supply of the drug. His dependence on morphine lasted for almost a decade, but it was the beginning of the most famous soda on Earth. With the addiction affecting his body really badly, Pemberton began working on a cure to give up this habit. During the late 1800s, most cures for illnesses were patient medicines that were over-the-counter treatments that were promoted without a concern for effectiveness or potential side effects. In most cases, they weren't very dissimilar from exotic liquors at the time. Pemberton received some information about coca wine, a mixture of wine and cocaine that was famous in France. Using coca wine, he concocted his first product, Pemberton's French wine Coca Nerve Tonic, which was shipped to pharmacies to be combined with soda water and distributed by trained professionals. Coca-Cola was born. The name Coca-Cola was an idea suggested by Pemberton's bookkeeper Frank Robinson. As the recipe for the syrup was coca leaf extract and caffeine from the cola nut, the title Coca-Cola was easy to come up with. But Robinson, who was famous for having amazing penmanship, thought that using two C's in the name would appear striking in advertising. As such, Cola became Cola, and the brand name was given birth. Robinson should have been given the credit with creating the first script Coca-Cola using the flowing letters that serve as the popular logo of today. At the time, every child studying in school had to learn the distinctive script, so it was famous. When he saw it, Candler liked the look so much that he planned to keep it as the official logo for the company. The popular Coca-Cola logo is now recognized all over the world. The soft drink was first introduced to the public at the soda fountain in Jacob's Pharmacy in Atlanta on May 8, 1886. About 9 servings of the soft drink were bought by customers each day. Sales for the first year totaled up to about $50. The first year of business wasn't much of a success, although, as it priced Pemberton over $70 in expenses to concoct the drink, it resulted in a loss. Another pharmacist took interest in Coca-Cola. Unfortunately, John Pemberton passed away in 1888 from stomach cancer that was certainly related to his addiction to morphine. The flexible structure of his company led to some huge legal issues after he died. No one was clear about ownership and duties within the company. One of Pemberton's partners, Asa Candler, said he bought a major stake in the company before Pemberton passed away. Pemberton's son, Charles, however, asserted he owned the rights to the brand name and that Candler was utilizing the product's recipe under an illegal license. Candler at the end paid off everyone who had a stake in the brand so he could have complete control. Although the Coca-Cola Company refuses this claim, historical proof indicates that it is most likely that, until 1905, the soft drink, which was marketed as a tonic, had extracts of cocaine as well as the caffeine-rich cola nut. While cocaine wasn't deemed illegal until 1914, according to Live Science, Candler started removing cocaine from the recipe in the early 1900s, and traces of cocaine may have been still there in the popular beverage until 1929, when scientists were capable of performing the removal of all psychoactive constituents from the coca leaf extract. Advertising was definitely a significant factor in the successful sale of Coca-Cola, and by the turn of the century, the drink was shipped and sold across the United States and Canada. Around the same time, the company started selling syrup to independent bottling companies licensed to sell the drink. Even today, the U.S. soft drink industry is following these footsteps. Free samples. Candler was so devoted to the company that he was always working on fresh marketing strategies to get Coca-Cola's name out there. As early as 1886, he started passing out little slips of paper that could be retrieved for a single glass of Coca-Cola. Some historians even say that this was the very first time a company distributed what could pass for coupons of free samples of its product to generate marketing buzz. Between 1894 and 1913, roughly 1 in 9 Americans had tasted a coupon Coke. The strategy assisted in the growth of the company's consumer base, transforming sample testers into loyal customers. Bottling of the product. Initially, Candler mostly concentrated on selling the Coca-Cola syrup to pharmacies and fountains, which had always been the product's main dealers. But he started working with a Vicksburg-based merchandiser in 1891 to come up with qualifying ideas for bottling the product. 8 years later, Coca-Cola established its first bottling plant in Chattanooga through another independent distributor. As time went by, the soda fountain decreased in popularity as commercial ice cream, bottled soft drinks, and fast food restaurants became increasingly famous. New Coke. On the 23rd of April 1985, the trade secret New Coke formula was introduced in response to decreasing sales courtesy of a growingly competitive cola market. Nevertheless, the new recipe was deemed as a failure. Coca-Cola fans had a pessimistic, sometimes even hostile reaction to the new recipe, and within 3 months, the indigenous cola that stole the hearts and taste buds of the public came back. The return of the original cola taste came with fresh branding of Coca-Cola Classic. The new Coke persisted, and in 1992 was rebranded Coke 2 before eventually being discontinued in 2002. Starting from 2017, Coca-Cola is a publicly traded Fortune 500 company with more than $41.3 billion in yearly revenue. The company has a labor of 146,200 employees, and its products are gobbled up at a rate of more than 1 billion drinks per day. Advertising efforts. The song "I'd Like to Buy the World a Coke" was the invention of Bill Becker, the creative director on the Coca-Cola. As he described to songwriters Billy Davis and Roger Cook, "I could see and hear a song that treated the whole world as if it were a person the singer would like to help and get to know. I'm not sure how the lyrics should start, but I know the last line." After that, he took out a paper napkin on which he had written the line, "I'd like to buy the world a Coke and keep it company." Rolling in dough. The Coca-Cola brand today is worth approximately $83.8 billion. That's more than the profits of Budweiser, Subway, Pepsi, and KFC together. With a heaped product portfolio of more than 3,500 beverages and 500 brands, which include sodas, energy drinks, and soy-based drinks, it's actually easy to see why. Coke has many various beverages that you can drink one per day for 9 years without drinking them all. 20 brands possessed by Coke created more than $1 billion each in sales each year.